Yeah, I thought you were going to ask me about our adjustments, and I was going to say if I had $1 for every time that we talked about adjustments. Obviously, we're not going to talk about what we're doing so that they can hear it, so we can speculate about. I think there's the shot profile for both teams has varied from game to game. Sometimes that's less a function of what you want to do offensively is what, a defense, kind of gives you the opportunity to do. I think that we're going to just see a really, really competitive game. There's certain things that they've gone to, screening actions with smalls. We have to anticipate some of those things and defend those off-ball screens. Jason Tatum's always, a handful in so many different ways on the court. So we have to prepare for, I feel like we've prepared for, what we've seen from a scouting standpoint. They ran different actions, last game than they did, as far as volume the previous couple games. So I think you have to know how you want to guard everything, and then be prepared to adjust during the game, which we've done sometimes more successfully than others. They've shot the ball extremely well. So giving up those open catch and shoot threes is hard. I felt we were fortunate last game, as well as they shot the ball, and we made shots last game. So, but on the whole, as the series progresses, there's, teams get to know each other more and more. And I think the physicality and, we talk about precision and force, and I think that's what, this game will be about for us. Can we be that precise with our spacing? Can we be forceful with how we run and rebound? And can we shoot the ball aggressively? When we feel like we've got a good shot, sometimes a shot early in the clock is the best shot you're going to get against these guys because they do such a good job of shrinking the floor, and when their defense is set, it's hard to get to the rim. So, there's some broad strokes there.
You talk about that physicality. I know, one of the specialties this season has been getting to the line, but I feel like last game, I think you guys got to the line like 16 times, but game before that, 8. Like, how important is it to have that physicality and try to draw some of those fouls too, especially on the offensive side? Yeah,
some of that's how the game's officiated. It's the playoffs. So I think the more aggressive you are in attacking, the greater the probability that that's going to happen. I think one of the key things is, adjusting to the game. And that's part of what we're talking about, that, understanding that the game is going to be physical. There's going to be illegal screens. Those are going to happen. And you can't die on a screen. I should say there's going to be good screens, that are physical. And, you have to be, a lot of times it involves communication as much as anything, and, anticipation. So they're a terrific team, and they're hard to guard. They have, so many guys, and so many guys making. Grant Williams comes in and just starts banging threes. Derek White's been terrific, even off the dribble. So, we know every night, every game, that we've got our work cut out for us. And try to prepare, from that point, to that place.
Coach, just sticking with the whole physicality conversation, is there a need to have conversations about just finding that balance with physicality and crossing that line? Because when you look at all the playoff series, physicality has become an issue where it's led to players getting tossed and suspended and things of that nature.
I think this has been a clean series. I think both teams have played hard. I have a lot of respect for Joe and their players. Marcus plays hard. He plays hard. You got to play hard. That's why he's good. And in our series, I can see that. As a general, I completely, watching games and stuff. I think, in our series, people are, physical isn't necessarily wrong. It's part of the game, and you can be physical. I think the word aggressive for me is as much as anything, and both teams have done that. And I think our expectation is it'll be like that again tonight.
Quin, it seems like the last game, the pace that you guys were able to play with throughout the game and touching the paint was something that was able to offset a lot of those made threes. Is that something that you want to see more of in today's game?
This is a good question. I think sometimes there's a perception that you're wanting a certain shot because that's the shot that's available. And I think what it really is one, it's making the right read. Sometimes you get a good shot and the ball doesn't go in. And the second thing is you have to work. There's a line there where you don't want to just capitulate to what a defense is giving you. We get back to being aggressive and trying to, impose your will, whatever that looks like in a given possession, to try to be able to do the things that you believe that, are your strengths. And, like I said, this is, even a point in the series where teams continue to get to know each other better, and that gets harder, and that's where the reads come in. Is it you want to take away the 3-point line or take away the rim? It's taking away the rim looks really good if you shoot 20% from the 3-point line. So there's a balance there, I really believe, and sometimes getting to the rim is the very thing that opens up the threes. You double Jason Tatum and they ping it around and Derek White hits a three. You don't double Jason Tatum, he shoots a step back and he hits a three. Which one is right or wrong is often hard. You just do the best you can and try to execute defensively in all those situations.
Hey, Q, over here. What's an aggressive shot? I've heard of playing aggressively on offense. When you say I want an aggressive shot, what is that?
I think it's, I think oftentimes that players, we talk a lot about making a read before the catch. That, you want, in an ideal world, what you want to do before you get the ball. That's, that decision or that read, isn't always successful or correct, but you can pass it, you can shoot it, or you can drive it. And I think, aggressive means being confident that, when you have that opportunity that you take it, even if you miss the last two. I'd rather see, a guy go 1 for 9, 1 for 8, than 1 for 2, if that's the shot that's available. Because I think if you stop taking open shots, usually what happens next, particularly against a team that's as good as Boston is defensively, the percentage goes down. So that's, it's tied to sometimes a contested shot is a good shot. When there's 2 seconds left on the shot clock, we never say, don't shoot that. So the situation oftentimes dictates, what a good shot is, and shot selection's a big thing, for teams. So we want to be aggressive. We want the guys on our team to allow one another the opportunity to be aggressive. Yeah.
Quin, 40 points off of your bench last game. When you look back at the film, is that just a matter of role players playing better at home, or what did you see from those guys? Yeah,
that's often, that's a lot of people talk about that, experience in the playoffs, being at home. I think there's definitely something to that. We have some guys that this is their first time in the playoffs. We're playing against a team that's very experienced in this setting, and sometimes it takes guys a little time to kind of get their rhythm, get their confidence. But I think the key thing on that, is just, again, that if things aren't, if the result isn't always what you want, sometimes you change what you're doing when what you're doing is good. And we can't be focused on one specific play. So it's, and for the other thing about rotations get shrunk. Different guys play different minutes. The game oftentimes matchups dictate certain things. So I think for players to be able, to stay focused and be ready to compete at any point in time in the game, because it sounds, coaches say it all the time, be ready. It's true, and especially in the playoffs, because it's collective and it's different.
Hey, Coach.
Yeah.
You had your highest scoring output of the series in second quarter of last game.
Mm-hmm.
What worked?
And you have a better chance of generating better offense. So that's something I really feel strongly about. Our guys' understanding is that our execution defensively is one of the things that really helps our offense, and by the same token, being efficient on offense and getting good shots, protects us on the other end. Good? Yep. Okay.